Now let us look at a relatively simple sutram, which is Gehe Kaha. Gehe Kaha 31144. We are still in the adhikar of dhatoho, and this sutram prescribes the affix ka following the verbal root graha upadane. Anuvritti of grahehe comes from the prior sutram 31143. So following the dhatu graha upadane, the affix ka may be used, but it may be used only in this meaning of gehe, when the resulting form refers to a house or a home. Geha, geha is house or home. So gehe kaha, that is the sutram. Now, of course, we have to remind ourselves by 3467 kartari krit. Kartari krit, that unless specified otherwise, every krit affix is used in the sense of kartari. So the one point to be made here is that in this sutram gehe kaha, this gehe is saptami, saptamyantam padam. But this does not point to a upapadam, because we have to look at the context. Look at the context. What does the vritti say? Gehe kartari. When the agent of the action is a house, then grahehe kaha syat. The affix ka may be used following the dhatu graha upadane. So this is not gehe upapade. This is gehe kartari. Now how do we know that? Because we have to see, if we take gehe upapade, right? And then when the word geha is an upapadam, then what happens? What any dhatu can take ka, that will not make any sense. That will not fit any of the forms in the language. That will allow any dhatu to take the affix ka when the is upapadam geha. So that will not make sense. Or if you bring the anuvritti of grahehe from the prior sutram, still we'll have a situation where, see, the point is that the word graham, the pratipadikam graha, is well known in the language, and that does not require any upapadam to be there. So we will not be able to derive the stand alone pratipadikam graha unless we interpret this gehe in the as not referring to a upapadam, but instead giving us the artha nirdeshaha. Artha nirdeshaha. So this gehe is not the saptami in the sense of tatropapadam saptamistham. It is not a saptami in the sense of tatropapadam saptamistham. Because when we studied tatropapadam saptamistham, we had a warning that not every saptami, saptamyantam padam, in this adhikaraha will be referring to a upapadam. We have to look at the context. We have to see what fits the language and what makes sense. So, and of course, for us, the simple way out, look at the vritti. Look at the vritti of the sutram. It will say otherwise, gehe upapade, but it's not saying that. It is saying that gehe kartari. So, simple way out for us is that look at the vritti of the sutram. If we say upapade, then we know that this is a saptamyantam padam in the sense of tatropapadam saptamistham. If it doesn't say like that, then we have to understand this is in a regular meaning, regular saptami meaning. It is not the technical saptami of tatropapadam saptamistham. So this is the one point to note, which we had already discussed when we looked at 3192, but here's an example of that, where this gehe is not a technical saptami in the sense of referring to upapadam. It is just a arthanirdesha. It says in the meaning. So when the agent is a house, it doesn't mean that gehe has to be in upapadam. Okay, the sutram itself is quite straightforward. It says that the affix ka is used following the verbal root graha upadane from the kriyadikanaha when the agent, this is by kartari krit 3467, refers to a house, that is gehe. So now how does this meaning make sense, that something which upadane is to take, to accept, to receive. So grashnati dhanyadikam iti graham. So that which takes in, which accepts things like grains, etc. So it is a storehouse of these things. So it accepts these things. That's how it's graham. I mean, nowadays we say, right, in the house we pile up so many things in the house. The house is constantly piling up, a lot of things. So that is that is how exactly how Panini derives this word graham, is that this is something, an agent which keeps on accepting objects or things. So that is the graham. The derivation is straightforward. Just dhatu grah plus ka. The affix ka is added following this dhatu grah upadane, um, in the sense of creating a prajpadikam which refers to a house. This is 31144. And then anubandha lopaha vilashakvatadite tasya lopaha. And after that, Samprasaranam by 6116. 6116 is well known to us. 6116, we have used that a lot. So now we get a chance to practice all these rules. So 6116 is this sutram which has 9 verbal roots, which take Samprasaranam when followed by an affix which is either kit or nyat. So grahi, ja, vayi, vyadhi, vashti, vichati, vrishchati, prichati, vrijjati niti cha. Vrishchati, prichati, vrijjati niti cha. And very first one is grahi. So, and we know that the definition of Samprasaranam is Igyanas Samprasaranam. It is the reverse of the Yan Sandhi. So, of a Yan substitution. So, a ik which comes in place of yan, that has the sanya of samprasaranam, and also the process of making this substitution also is referred to as samprasaranam. So here we do have the dhatu grah followed by a affix which is a kit, and therefore the repaha, the yan letter, takes the corresponding ik substitute. So the repaha is substituted by rikaraha. So now we have gakaraha, rikaraha. The akara is still there. So the repha, only the repha got replaced by rikaraha. Then we have hakaraha and then pratyasya akaraha. And then samprasaranacha. Anytime there is samprasaranam, we have to always remind ourselves to apply samprasaranacha. Otherwise, it is obvious that what will happen is that if these two combine again by iko-yanachi, it will just reverse the samprasaranam process. So that is why we have to always apply samprasaranacha. Samprasaranacha puraparayoho ekadeshaha is the purva rupam. This sutram samprasaranacha, it comes right after amipurvaha. It's the adhikara of ekaf pura parayoho, which starts from 6184. This adhikaraha ekaf pura parayoho, we have used this sutram amipurvaha many times, and right below that is samprasaranacha. This says that a samprasaranam and the following ach in place of two of them, a single substitute, which is the prior member, in this case the rikaraha. So in place of rikaraha and akaraha, there is a single substitute, which is the prior member, which is the rikaraha. So we get the form graha. Graha gets pratipadika sanya vyakritita samasascha, and in the language this is used in the neuter gender, decline like vana or phala or jnana pratipadikam. So it comes from graham, grahe, grahani, and so on. But this is a special sutram which Panini derives only one single pratipadikam graha, in the sense of that which accepts. Accepts means things like grains, or it can even accept guests and so on. So it keeps on accepting. That's this word graha. Now this is a special case where only one single pratipadikam, one single form is being derived by Panini. So he devotes one sutram just for this one form. It is not the only place we have seen that. We have seen that, for example, 7193, which is a sutram devoted to derive one single form, which is sakha, anang sau. Later on also we'll see a number of rules where Panini derives only one single form by one sutram. So it is a very small domain, restrictive domain. So here we have sutram called ichha. When we come to that, we'll see the sutram ichha, where Panini, he just derives this, gives this one form ichha by this sutra, only one single form. So this is in that category of rules, very specialized rules for one specific form. That is gehe kaha, gehe kaha. And again, one more time, this gehe is not referring to an upapadam. It's only an artha nirdeshaha. So as long as this is saying that the agent should be a house. So anybody who accepts something cannot be called graham. This pratyaya ka can only be used in that on the condition that the agent is a house.